Man Tip, presented by Talking Small Podcast. Thank you for joining this most recent episode of Man Tips. Today we are going to be replacing the heat blend door actuator in a 2011 F150. As you see, the problem is when you turn the temperature all the way cold, you hear a lot of clicking. This is caused by the current actuator that's in there having a bad potentiometer. It cannot reach the end limit, so we need to replace it. So what we're going to be doing is taking off the center console. We're going to have to take out the radio and remove the old actuator. It's roughly right behind here. All this. So we're going to take out this. We're going to take out the glove box so we can reach some tight screws, and we're going to see what we can do. So to take off the center console, this pops up, revealing a couple screws, and then you have to pop this out, and there's another screw, and those are the three screws that hold the center console in place. So we're going to use just a little flathead screwdriver to pop it out. We got a 7mm lug driver. Here we go. To drive those out, and I'll come back in a second with the console removed. Just showing the location of those little screws. There's one right there, two up there. So we'll take those out, and then we'll be able to pretty easily remove the center console, and we're going to have to disconnect a lot of the switches along the way. All right, so now we've got the center console removed. I've left it hanging by a couple wires just to keep it in place. Now we have to take out the radio, CD player, and the piece we're looking for is about right back there. So we'll take out the radio, and we should be able to see what we're looking at. Again, it's held on just by 4 screws, 2, 4, and we should be able to pull those out, and the radio comes right out. So now I have removed the CD player, and actually what we're looking at is right this piece right here. It is the AC Blend Door Actuator, and what it does is it opens or closes the door to let the hot or cold air through of the air conditioner depending on where you set the temperature. And what its problem is, and why it's making the clicking noise, is because there's a bad potentiometer in it, and it can't sense the end limit. So when you turn it all the way to cold or all the way to hot, it's all the way to cold in my case, it just continuously clicks because it's trying to turn farther than it's meant to because of the bad potentiometer. So what we're going to do is remove that. There's one screw in the front that's pretty easy to get to. There's also one in the back that I don't know if you can see on the camera, but I can see it barely. That's hard to reach. So what we have to do is we have to remove the glove box and kind of go in from the back. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to take out the glove box, and then I'll show you what we got. All right, so I took out the glove box. See that? All you got to do is kind of push in on these tabs, and it'll pop right out. And looking through, we can barely see what we're looking for. So I think it's going to be a tight squeeze, but to do that, we have a 5/16 ratchet wrench. So, all we got to do is get it on there, and we'll be able to slowly work it off, and then we'll be able to take it out pretty easily. So that was not actually nearly as bad as I was expecting it to be. I was told that back screw is pretty hard to get to, but it's a hand contorting job, but it wasn't too bad. One thing to note is this, the outside part of this one that I have is too thick to actually grab onto the screws, so I ended up having to use just the regular wrench part. But it's doable. You just work your hand back there and work it kind of blindly since you're contorted using your left hand coming in this way and your right hand going in through the glove box. But now that I have done that, it will pop right out. And I can unhook it, and then we'll compare to what we got, and we'll see what we can do. Oh. All right, so here is what the issue is. This is the OEM part. And what we got is went to AutoZone. Oops, sorry for the hand. $21. We got the same place. Now they recommend the Motorcraft, Ford Motorcraft replacement. AutoZone had this one for $21. It is, here's the part number for it, air door actuator. And comparing the two, let's see what I can do with two hands here. They look pretty similar. So bolt hole or the screw holes will line up, plug goes the same way. Think we got us a replacement part. Take care of it. We're gonna plug it back in, hook everything back up, put it all back together. It's pretty much just doing it the opposite, and I probably won't show you step by step on that because it's pretty easy. And then I'll come back with the keys and we'll see if it's making noise. So I've buttoned everything back up. While you got your glove box out, it might be a good time to go ahead and clean out all the garbage. I ended up just shoving everything back in there because it's hot outside. So now we got the AC blended to the point where it wasn't clicking before when it was mixed. So let's start it up and see what we see. All right, so now before, when I would turn this to cold, it would start clicking. So let's see what it does now. And we got all the way on. We got cold air blowing. Ah, that feels good because it's hot. And that is it. AC Blend Door fixed, replaced. I didn't take it to a mechanic, but doing some searching online, I saw that people were being quoted in the $400 to $700 range for this. That's outrageous. I was a little hesitant because I kept reading or seeing all the other videos about how that back screw was really hard to get to. I'm not a small guy by any means, but I don't have, some of those guys had some pretty, they looked to be a little chonk. So it was not as bad as I was thinking it would be. The whole thing honestly took me about, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes in disassembly, including shooting the video. So definitely, even the amateurs can do this when I'm an amateur myself. So it's a pretty easy fix. Don't take it to a mechanic. Take care of yourself. Man tip. Over and out.